Okay, I'm working on my 2007 PT Cruiser here. We're going to be replacing the front motor and regulator for this window up here. It's going to be on the driver's side. However, it's going to be the same with the exception of the parts are different from the passenger to the driver's. But here is the replacement that I've picked up. It's just a used one from another vehicle. I got this at the salvage yard. It has the motor, has your motor and everything you need here. These are clips for the window, and it said it hooks to this, and this is your regulator, this whole piece, and it slides up and down on this with some plastic gears and stuff. So I don't know what's going on with this exactly, but I know I had worked on it previously and there was some wires broken and stuff, and I had it working, but I think that the regulator and everything is messed up, and I'm not real happy with the wiring and stuff, so I wanted to go ahead. I picked this up for $18, and we're just going to head and replace it and just take the old one out of there. So we'll just go ahead and get started here. Okay, we're over here at the door. We're going to get started with a Phillips screwdriver. And just to show you real quick a few of the tools that you may need. A putty knife works good, a screwdriver for getting underneath this. If you have some plastic type tools, they work good. Also work good for wedging the window from falling. If you got one of these, a suction cup is excellent. They're not very much. I think I got this from Harbor Freight or something. But it will hold your window up. And I've got a 10mm and a Phillips, and it's basically the only thing you really need. We're going to get started up here. We got a Phillips screw right in here, and we're going to go ahead and remove that. Okay, while we're up here, we're going to go ahead and pop this piece of trim off here. This is usually not too bad. Just pops right out of there. If you have the manual window, it'll be similar, except you'll have a little joystick with some cables. Pop it loose and just kind of put it up out of the way, because it'll catch on this lip right here. So now that we've got that screw and that off, we're going to come down here. We've got a 10mm, or you can use a Torx bit. I'm using a 10mm. We got two coming in this handle, and I'm just using this. You can just get a little ratchet with an extension. However, these are not just terribly tight, so I usually just use my little micro ratchet. So we're just going to get both of these out now. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and work on popping this up, and I just start down here, and you can see where somebody had really dinged it up using some kind of pry tool. I've got these little plastic ones I can use to get under there. However, if you don't have that, if you've got a putty knife, you can go under here, and what I like to do is use the putty knife to get under there, and then just get behind that putty knife with another screwdriver, just kind of give it some stability. If you can get under there and just give it a good yank like that. And once you get that loose, you don't even need those anymore. Just pull. So that's loose. And then just give it a pull here. And there we have it. It's completely loose. Now we can't just yank it off of here. We're going to have to lift it up over this for starters. And this will be kind of snug in there. Just kind of pull up. And don't yank, because we have one more rod right here. This blue piece that you can see right here. We need to push that down and then pop this rod out just like that. And you got a little flexibility with it. Just don't yank on it and bend it and tear it up. Now we've got this connection here for our door locks. You just pull up ever so lightly with your fingernail and just give that a push back. And it should come loose for you. So there you go. Just try not to break your little plastic connectors. Okay, so now that we got those, we can set this aside out here. Now you'll notice that this goopy plastic piece is gone. It was because I've done come in here to mess with this once, and I tore it off of here and wasn't worried about replacing it. Like I said, you could take some plastic and just silicone it around here if you want to put this vapor barrier back. So anyways, here is my motor. You can see where I'd worked on the wires here. I can't remember what else was going on with this, but I had definitely worked on these because the wires had gotten cut and I got it working. However, just to show you here, okay, if you come up, you can see that I'm not coming all the way up, and it's like not wanting to close properly. We went ahead and put the key in. I'll show you this. It's just not, and I don't really know. I think it's the gears in there. You can see it's just stopping right there, and then it doesn't want to catch, and so that's what we got going on. So basically, this regulator is bad, and the gears have come off track, and I think this may have been the one that someone had taken loose, and so once these things get off track, it's just impossible to get them fixed. There's just plastic gears and stuff. But whatever the case, whether it's the motor or that, we're going to take the whole thing out so we don't have to fuss with it. So we're just going to go ahead and lift this back up, probably to get to these bolts. But I'm going to go ahead next, and we'll work on getting this bracelet 10mm. You got a nut right here and one here. We'll just take this out of the way just so it gives us a little more room. Okay, and you could just drop that down there like that. It's really not that critical. Just don't, a lot of these edges are sharp, and just don't cut your hand on it or anything. So right here is our connector. I want to go ahead and work on getting this loose. You just squeeze in on both of those tabs there at the same time and just give that a push right back through, and they're kind of tight. So I'm going to get that loose. Okay, now you pull this out. There's a safety lock. You got to push that back, or get a screwdriver or whatever and push that back really hard. Okay, and you can see we pushed it back. Now right here is going to be foam, but there's a clip that you push down. Push that right there where my thumb's at, and it should pull off. There we go. So there we have that loose. Now we're going to work on, we got a 10mm here that's in there, and we've got one right here. This one's kind of in this hole up here. Let's see. I'm going to have to raise my window all the way back up. It did come down, so I'm going to have to do that before we continue on. Okay, we managed to get it pushed back up there, and you can see through these oval slots here, those are the 10mm for the clips to the glass. So we need to loosen them so we can free the glass from these clips. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll take out that one, that 10, and that 10, and just get this completely out of here. Now, the next thing we'll want to do is take my, before I do all that, I want to take that and secure this glass. We'll just suction cup it here, and that'll hold it in place. Okay, so there we have that, so it's not going anywhere. If you don't have that, you'll have to get creative, get you some wedges or something, or get something in here to put under there to hold it, at least till you can get these loose and get this regulator and motor out of the way. But anyways, I've got that there. The window's not going anywhere. We're going to go ahead and loosen these first and get them plenty loose so they will easily go on to our new glass, or come off of here easy rather. So we got that free. Now we're going to go right in here and get this, take this nut completely off. You can see this is already loose as it can be. And be careful, don't lose this. Kind of hard, tricky. You almost need a magnet to get this one, but there it is. And now we just have the lower, and we'll have this freed up here. We'll just go ahead and take this completely off. And all right, so we got that up there. You can see that slot right there. It slides in from the side. There's a big hole, and it just kind of slides in like that. So we just slide it off of that, push it back, and with that brace out of the way, there's all kinds of room to bring this right through here. So there we go. And like I said, don't know what's going on with this, but basically it's the motor or the regulator itself is messed up, and it's slipping, and it's not doing what it's supposed to. But you can see the slack, and I think that the gears in here have come loose as well. Alright, I wanted to show you this when I had this off here. These gears are actually together. I was expecting this to be messed up, but this motor runs this, and it just slides turns these gears, and it rides up and down on this. That's all this is. The motor's turning that. These gears looked okay, so I think it's just the motor itself or something there slipping. So this regulator part actually looks all right. I was expecting these gears to be out of whack or something, but it looks like they're into place. Everything. But that's how that works, and it just pops in there. I've got this kind of held up here, but this just pops on there. I just popped it out with a screwdriver, but it pops on there and it locks down. It's got these channels that go under those grooves right there, and it just locks down onto that piece, and that motor just pushes it up and down on there. But whatever the reason is, it's not working, so we've got another one here, and we're going to get it in there. Like I said, I didn't like the wiring on this that I had to do, and so might you know, take that motor off and see what's going on, but it's probably trash. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and just get this one over into the car here, and we'll just go back in just like we came out. And said when it's complete like this, it's so easy to do this, and you got lots of room to get this in and out of here. And we'll just take and watch our clips up there in them oval slots, push it up into place, and just kind of watch what you're doing. Sometimes it takes a few tries here to get it to line up, but give me just 1 second. Okay, so we got that pushed up on there, and we've got those on, and we're just pulling this into this slot, and we'll go ahead and get our nuts that go on the end of these and start fastening those down. Okay, the bottom 10mm is in, and we're just getting ready to put this top one right in here, and we're just gonna snug it down, and then we'll go ahead and get our clips for our window. Now, I doubt that the window is in perfect alignment, and I only hand tighten these window clips. I've mentioned that in other videos. And also, when I went ahead and I tested that motor. I was curious what was going on, and the motor, I could hear it spinning, but the gears weren't turning, so the regulator, as I suspected, was good. So now we're going to go ahead and plug this in right here and just make it click and push our safety lock over. Now before we fasten it back in here, I'm going to make sure that this is in fact working. We need to go ahead and get our suction cup out of the way. So I believe I've got the key on here. And another thing that I like to do is put a little white silicone in these tracks to start out with, and I put a little bit behind where the gears, just to kind of make everything go smoothly. Okay, so we'll just keep an eye on this here. It appears to be doing its job. And just want to look to make sure that it's shutting nice. And I see some tilt right there. It's usually, like I said, it doesn't get exact on the first try. What I'm going to do is put it about right there. I'm going to loosen these off a little bit and just let this thing kind of adjust itself out. And then we'll try it again. Like sometimes you get it in the track and re-snug it, it'll kind of work itself out. With it setting in those tracks like that, it kind of lines itself up. So we'll see how this does here. It may be worse. If it is, we'll just adjust it again. But the main thing is, we want it going up nice and smooth. So that appears pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now and we're going to snap this in here. And then we'll work on putting this door back together. Like I said, if you want to, you can get you a piece of plastic and silicone it on here so you'll have that vapor barrier. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get this back into place here. We'll fasten that down. Okay, and now we're ready to get this panel back in place here. We've got a little blue guy here that we got to get on this bar. And actually, this bar has got to be above my brace here, and I just now noticed that, so I'll need to take this back loose here. Make sure that it goes above this brace. Okay, no big deal. I just had to pop that loose and slide it right through there. So we got it up there. We've got our connector that we got to get back to our power lock here. So we'll go ahead and get our connector. Okay. So we got that locked into place. Now we'll go ahead and get this bar onto our blue. Just pop that in. And it's a little more difficult to do holding this, but we're going to try it here. And then that just flips once you get it pushed in properly. That will flip right into place. So there we got it. Okay, now we just got to get that back on this hole. It will move a little bit. Just make sure to center that up. But we got to also get up above to get this in between the window and this here. So we need to lift up and then we have to kind of like bring it down and line up the little lock over here. So we got to get it in between that metal and that window, get this seal. Okay, and when I put the camera down, I was able to tilt the panel up and squeeze it in there, no problem. Now we got to make sure that our these are lining up, and they are pretty good. So we'll pop those, and then we'll look over here and make sure that these guys are lining up. So we don't break them. Okay. Just give it a good hit with your hand. Alright, so the next thing, I think we'll go ahead and get this screw right back in here. Right now we've got our tins that go right under the door here in this handle, door handle. Okay, and lastly we got this little trim piece. Like I said, if you have the manual mirrors, yours will be a little bit different and you won't actually be able to pull that off. You'll just have to pop it up to get it out of your way. Right, and there it is all together, and it doesn't hurt to give it a test again just to make sure that nothing went wrong. And like I said, all these are working good. Believe it or not, when I first got this car there was only one window working, and it was this one right over here. Okay, so that's going to do it for this video on replacing this front window motor regulator. If you found it helpful, please give it a like. And as always, I invite you to subscribe. And if you have any ideas for any future projects or a video that you might like to see, or something you'd like to see done, leave a comment below and let me know. And I appreciate your support and feedback. Thank you for watching.